Hello, thanks for stopping by Phlees Bourbon Journey tonight. Well, I decided to go off on a little bit of a squirrel tangent here and bring you some examples of some of the stuff that I've acquired in the last few months here. Everything you see in front of me is unopened right now. We're going to change that here in a few minutes. But let me just give you some idea of what I buy for myself to have in my cabinet, okay? I'm a fan of Lux Row Distilleries, and I ran across this Distiller's Pick 120 proof Rebel cask strength, okay? So I bought that, haven't gotten into that one yet. I am a fan of Heaven Hill products, and the Heaven Hill Bottled in Bond is no exception. Now, I teased about a video on this a little while back, but that bottle actually got finished before I ever did a video on it. So we're gonna get to that one eventually. Over here, we've got Rabbit Hole Derringer, and this is actually produced and bottled by Rabbit Hole Distillery, Louisville, Kentucky. I'm a big fan of Rabbit Hole Derringer. I had a chance to buy the little one and the Rabbit Hole Cave Hill, which is a 4-grain triple malt. We'll have to see what I think about that one. I know I like this one. Right up front here, we have the Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. This is the A124, okay? This is the January release of 2024. 119 proof, 10-year, 9-month aged, and I was able to get a hold of one of those. Grateful. That one might take a little while to get to because I've got so many other good bottles in the collection to get after. Here I've got a Jack Daniel's single barrel proof, and this one comes in at 128 proof. Now, in my past videos, I've tried to make it as quiet as I could around me in order to do these videos so you didn't have any background noise. But I have a little bit of a crazy family, and if you pick them up a little bit in the background here or there, just know that I'm not alone in the house. Over here on the side, we've got a Ben Holiday Distillery offering. For those of you that don't know, that's a distillery in Missouri that uses limestone water. And most of their stuff that I've had so far, I would put up against some of the best stuff out of Kentucky. This is their 6-year aged Rick House Missouri Straight Bourbon Whiskey. It's a small batch reserve, and I have not yet tried that one. So that one's going to be new to me. Where else are we looking? Okay, here I have a Wyoming Whiskey, small batch bourbon whiskey that is distilled, barreled, and bottled in Kirby, Wyoming. This comes in at 88 proof. I got this from a local retailer here in the greater Omaha area. Not sure if you can get a hold of that in Nebraska or not. Haven't really searched for it. It was just recommended, and I thought I'd give that one a try. Again, all of these are as yet unopened. I did pick up a bottle of Traveler whiskey. This is a blended whiskey, 45% alcohol by volume, which means it's 90 proof. This is blend number 40. Now, there's a story behind this. It has to do with Harlan Wheatley, who's a master distiller and co-founder, and Chris Stapleton, a musician and co-founder. And what they did is this is blended and bottled at Buffalo Trace Distillery in Frankfort, Kentucky. And it's called blend number 40 because they blended a whole different kinds of iterations, a whole bunch of different iterations of things. And this was the one that they agreed upon that they liked the most. And this one you can find in the Omaha area. It's around $40 a bottle. Haven't tried it yet, but it comes highly recommended. Up front here, I have a bottle of Cedar Ridge, which is an Iowa product. The quintessential American single malt whiskey special release. This is their port side offering. It's bottled at natural cask strength, which in this particular case is 117.2 proof. Now it's 2-row pale malted barley aged in first fill ruby port, first fill Amontillado sherry, and virgin French oak casks, and it's got a 6-year minimum age statement. That one probably won't fall into my wheelhouse because I'm not big on scotches or single malts, but it was one of those that you don't see very often, you don't come across, and the time to buy a product like that is when you see it. So that's pretty much what I've got in front of me here. I want you to stay tuned. Oh, you think I forgot about this one? I didn't forget. This is the Masters Collection Woodford Reserve Batch Proof. Now, this one is the 124.7 proof. I just can't get myself to crack that one, as expensive as it was. It's by several dollars the most expensive bottle I've ever purchased. So we'll have to wait and see how that one pans out. But what I'm going to bring to you tonight, with all these wonderful bottles that I've acquired in the last several months, I've spoken to my retailer here in Council Bluffs that I like to deal with quite often. And I told him I would give him my thoughts on the Wyoming Whiskey. Now, this is, like I said earlier, it's a small batch bourbon that's distilled, barreled, and bottled in Kirby, Wyoming. And I don't know anything about the distillery. I don't know anything about the product. I read the label before I bought it. It talks about wheat, corn, and barley. Does not speak about any rye, which I was hopeful because I'm not much of a rye guy. You follow the channel for more than about 15 videos, you quickly learn that there's not many rye. Let me back that up. There's not any rye review videos on my channel. So we're going to do a fresh crack, first try. Ooh, that was a good one. Of Wyoming whiskey. We'll give it my customary short pour for the video. We're going to let that puppy aerate for about 10 minutes or so. Come back, give you my thoughts. Okay, I'm back. Don't anybody panic. We had a real strong east wind came through here. I think I'm going to name it Hurricane Courtney. I don't see any broken glass. I don't see anything leaking. Whew. That could have been so much worse. Oh, thank goodness. Anyway, Wyoming whiskey. Let's see what my nose can smell. Picking up a bit of citrus in there. Remember that family I mentioned earlier? That includes a couple of cats. I don't know what Mavis wants, but she's letting me know she wants it. It's not real complicated on the nose, but it also is not real strong on the ethanol either. I mean, it's 88 proof, so it should be in there. It's a 5-year age statement on it. Yeah, just uncomplicated on the nose. Let's see what the palate thinks. This one has a strong overtone of oak, but there's something right there alongside it. This is going to sound odd, but it's almost like a pie crust kind of flavor. It's pleasant. it's hard to explain that it stands out, but it doesn't dominate. The oak hits hard. That pie crust kind of flavor is right there with it, but the oak dominates. And then at the end, there's a touch of I don't know, it's not cinnamon, but it's like a spice, like maybe a little bit of an allspice kind of flavor. Unusual. The very beginning is very earthy. And I imagine that has to do with the barley. I wouldn't guess this to be heavy in the wheat. It's not terribly sweet, but it's definitely got no rye bite to it, so that's good. Definitely a drinker. Definitely worthy of my Gretna Wine and Spirits Glencairn glass. Akash, that one's for you, brother. On the 3 to 13 Phlees bourbon scale. Now this is labeled as small batch bourbon whiskey, which means new charred oak barrels, and it's 5-year age statement. I would have to say that I would give this an 8 out of 13. I sense that it would continue to be a solid everyday drinker, just neat in a Glencairn. There's also like a roasted corn kind of, that's probably not even quite right. That's the closest I can describe it, like a roasted corn. Like when you have corn on the barbecue grill and it gets that roasted kind of flavor in there. As you can tell by what's left in there, I very much enjoy this one. Well, guys, there you have it. Hurricane Courtney blew through from the east to the west. And fortunately, I think we're going to be able to recover all the bottles that got blown over. Thank goodness. Wyoming Whiskey from Stanley. You know who you are. Definitely a good drinker. Thanks for stopping by Phlees Bourbon Journey tonight. I hope that you're enjoying your bourbon journey. If you like this video, don't forget to go down below, hit that like button. If you want to see what I do next, don't forget to subscribe. And if you know somebody who might enjoy my content, make sure you share it. Again, thanks for stopping by Phlees Bourbon Journey. And who knows, one of these other bottles might be the next Fresh Crack First Try. You'll have to come back to find out. Stay safe.